PLD Projects presents Holy Snokes, a Star Wars podcast featuring PLD and Matty Gunner. May the Force be with you, always. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to PLD Projects. Welcome back to Holy Snokes, a Star Wars podcast, a weekly Star Wars podcast, where myself and my partner, a hetero partner for life, Matty Gunner, he joins me as always. How you doing, my friend?
Wait, okay. So I'm guessing by being the long blonde-haired one, I'm Jay.
Yes.
You're Silent Bob.
Absolutely. Not so
you're
silent.
Kevin. You're Kevin Smith. I'm Jay Muse. Got it.
Kind of what I was going for. I mean, I used to actually, people used to think, say I looked like Kevin Smith back in the day when I was in college because I actually had like a.
You're a big Kevin Smith guy. You and PJ.
Absolutely. So that's definitely a love letter to you by calling you that. So for sure.
I'll take it.
Wow, what a episode! What a day we have to talk about. Usually we talk about news and we talk about like a big topic of the week. We're saying we're going to shoot the news this week. F the news, because you know what? There's not much out there anyway that's like really newsworthy.
No one cares about the news this week.
Absolutely. No one cares about the news. We're going to get to the news eventually. It'll just be a couple weeks down the line. We are here to talk about the Bad Batch Season 3 series finale. I mean, next week we have big episode 2. Tales of the Empire is coming out on May 4th. May 4th is Saturday. We have the Phantom Menace re-release coming out that I'm going to go see because I'm going to go see that Acolyte footage. I know you don't want to see it, but
is that the only reason you're going to see it?
No, not the only reason, but that if I had a choice, I think I didn't even look, but the only one around here is showing the Phantom Menace and Regal Cinema. I go to Regal Cinemas around here. I don't know if they're actually showing the rest of them. I know like our AMC and a bunch of them are having a whole Star Wars day where they're showing the entire saga over here. But I think I'd probably, if I was going to choose one, though, I might as well choose
no one's doing that here.
Footage.
There is nowhere. I've looked. There is nowhere other than the Prince Charles, which is like an independently owned like niche thing. There is no like Cineworld or Odeon or View or anywhere like that is doing the marathon. They're doing the Phantom Menace over the weekend, but after then nowhere's doing the marathon. I think people over here are just like, yeah, nah, fuck that.
That's fine, I guess. I mean, I couldn't even do the marathon. I'm too old to do the marathon in these days. My back would be gone after.
I'm too old to begin the training.
Absolutely, nice choice. I like that. So am I going to see for the Acolyte footage? No, I'd go anyway for the hell of it. I would choose for it, but I would go for it if I had a choice between 1 through 9 and 1 was showing the Acolyte footage. You're damn sure I'm going to go to the episode 1 at that point. So I'm going partially for the Acolyte footage.
As soon as I see Boss Nass raise that life day orb,
you're out.
Peace. I am going to peace the fuck out.
It's amazing. It's already dropped. It's already leaked online. I haven't watched it yet. So like the footage has leaked online.
Oh, what the Acolyte footage?
The Acolyte footage. Yeah, basically. It's not a spoiler telling you what it is. I promise you.
Alone, can they?
I promise you this. It's the trailer, and then they actually show a scene, which is more of a full scene of what we saw in the trailer, which of the season teaser, which you saw. Trinity. Trinity's little fight there. They show that full scene supposedly. That's part of it. I'm not telling you anything about it. I'm just telling you that's what the scene is. It's a scene you already know, so I felt safe saying that. So beyond that,
so far, other than a near hiccup, as I was scrolling down and I saw someone go hashtag the Acolyte, which is weird because I muted it, but I think because someone retweeted it, I don't know if that counts. But I saw it and I was just like, nope.
Maybe they spelled the Acolyte wrong. Maybe that's what it was. And they spelled it hashtag the Acolyte and got to the mute. Who knows? You got to do that. I found out you have to, when you mute things, you have to mute misspellings too, because people are dumb.
I didn't think of that.
That can happen.
Holy shit! I didn't think of that.
Mm-hmm.
There's also people that will post stuff that don't use the hashtag.
Right. Yeah, that's true too. So
and I don't want to mute all my friends that like Star Wars because I talk to them about literally everything other than Star Wars.
Right, absolutely.
Shout out to Sean Roman Burgers Cantina. I talked to him about everything other than Star Wars. Sean Sullivan, I talked to him about everything other than Star Wars.
Absolutely. I
talk to mostly about everything other than Star Wars, other than the once a week.
Fair.
I don't like I feel like you and me have established this thing, and we can get onto the show after this. Like, you and me have established this silent thing of like, don't talk. We did it at first, but now we're like, don't talk to each other about what we're talking about until the show. But we didn't agree on it. It's just like the day a show drops, we're gonna talk. Just don't.
We don't text back and forth at all about this stuff. Like I kind of feel like we did once in a while at the beginning, and then we just kind of stopped.
Yeah.
Or we still have a hard time sometimes. Like, we'll get on this in the studio, we'll start talking a little bit, maybe sometimes, but we're like, nope, let's wait, let's hold off. So it is actually fun, guys. You get genuine reactions from us, and I'm finding out what Matty thinks, and Matty's finding out what I think about the episode, basically, as we go live in a way, as we go streaming. But I actually tend not to even tweet about it too much. I tend not to tweet things out, my reactions to shows. I don't know why. A lot of people do, and I get why they do. I just don't. I did tweet something. I'm going to segue in right here. We're going to circle into the episode. The only thing I tweeted about it this week, I think it's safe to say right from the end, is my overall thoughts on it, by like one sentence thought on it. And let me read the exact quote from the tweet so you know what I'm talking about. Not the ending I quite expected, but I'm quietly sitting here very satisfied. I'm going to miss this show so much.
I think that is the universal thing that people are like, we didn't see this coming.
Right.
But this is the perfect end to this story.
Yes. And I want to say that because it's kind of weird, because I've got to admit, when I watched the episode, and we're going to start getting into it the way we get into it, I want to say, like, my son and I actually woke my son up at 3 a.m. We watched it together at 3 a.m. We usually don't, because he has to go to school the next day. But I said, fuck it, we're going to do it.
Bro, I would have kicked your ass.
Oh, no, he wanted me to. He totally wanted me to. He said, wake me up, Dad. I went, okay, that's fine. And we both sat there, and we talked, and we watched it together for the first time. And we usually don't get to do it because of this show, basically speaking, because like I have to watch it now. I had to watch it like when I watch it so I can do this. I mean, he only gets home from school like an hour ago. So usually we do the show, then I go and watch it with him afterwards. We sat here, and we both kind of said, like, we kept wanting to use the word. It's a negative word, but so it wasn't what we meant. But like, we want to say it was underwhelming, but it wasn't like in a negative, like underwhelming way. It was just more like that. It was just a lot lower key.
I'm going to give you a word.
Thank you. Because I've been trying to find one. Contained? That's a good choice. Yeah.
It's contained to the core story. And I've been saying this for weeks now. It's contained to the core story of The Bad Batch.
You're absolutely right. And I know actually part of my thing when I was thinking about the show today, I'm like, this is what we're going to come in saying. We've been kind of setting this up for a couple of weeks now. We both have been kind of saying this, like, we've been kind of like, we expected for a long time. We were thinking about the Avengers, Portals, Rebels finale, kind of where everybody's going to show up. And that was kind of like the general consensus. In the last couple of weeks, it kind of started trending more towards.
I even started saying, right, I think that they are the cavalry.
I think they are the cavalry, low key. And I realized that too was going to set up. And I'm glad we did, because that definitely helped with any, quote unquote disappointment. I keep using these like minorly negative words, but it's not really, because at the end of the day, I always go back to exactly what you said. This is about the Bad Batch. I blame the title a little bit. The title's dropped. The cavalry has arrived. And only a few people really remember that's what Wrecker said at first. And everybody just said the cavalry's arrived. That's got to be everybody, right? That means everybody's coming to save the day. But no, it's a bringing it back to the start. That we started with the Bad Batch arriving. The cavalry has arrived. We're ending with the Bad Batch arriving. The cavalry has arrived. And it is a good thing overall. It's not to say it's perfect. It's not to say there aren't any missed opportunities, I think. There's a few missed opportunities. But I do circle back and forth when I say that. And we're going to get into it very soon. I promise you. I'm going to get into it. The missed opportunities I'm talking about, I excuse all the time, because it does always come back to, it's okay. This is about the Bad Batch. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a couple of things I wanted to get answered. I didn't. I got, but I go back to, but.
But I think that is, again, and we go back to the conversation we had last week, that is the case of being a diehard Star Wars fan, that we want to know everything, right? We want to know. I mean, I'll just bring up the first example I can think of that I saw a lot of people asking was, where the hell was Cody?
That's one of the missed opportunities I'm mentioning. Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, I can agree to some extent. Here's the thing. I'm approaching this of it would have been nice.
The reason why I call it a missed opportunity specifically for that case is the fact that he was in the show at all. He has an episode where he has this thing with Crosshair, and then he supposedly leaves. And then to not ever touch him again, that seems like a missed opportunity. If he never appeared in the show, then it's like, okay, missed opportunity in terms of, yeah, it would be cool to see where Cody was during this time. We don't need it. If you introduce him in the show and have him have a part for an episode and then have him just mysteriously disappear, we originally go, oh, well, they kind of implied that he left and he went off. But then it's like, so why didn't he go with Rex? Or did he not leave and was taken to Tantus? Oh, he could have been one of the clones. Like, I would have been happy if he was one of the clones they freed. Like all of a sudden, like that's another one of those missed opportunities I mentioned. Like I want to have one clone we knew as part of the Nameless that they were freeing, because it would have been a little bit, just a touch more emotional if they had free. Because all the clones they freed were just these like no-name clones we'd never really seen before, and that's cool. I mean, the honest truth is we don't need anybody. We're talking about freeing the clones is enough because that's what their whole story had been about. But it had been a little bit more of a nice emotional pull. All of a sudden, oh, we see Wolf got taken there after he let them go, or oh, Cody's there helping out before they leave. It's a nice little just post credit on the scene. Then again, I stop and go, yes, but it's the Bad Batch.
That's the thing you got to keep in mind, brother.
That's what I keep going back. I really am struggling with this like feel because I'm going, but we should have. But I get it. But we get it.
This is the thing. This is why I'm going into it thinking it would have been nice.
Right.
It would have been nice if. So then there's like subverting expectations, because this is what they do, right? They tease us. I mean, Jennifer Corbett posting the Game of Thrones gif.
Yeah.
Last night had everyone saying, "Oh my God, it's Tech. She's talking about Tech. She's talking about Tech. Like Tech has been because the dragon apparently like." And this was a massive spoiler for me who hasn't watched the last season of Game of Thrones, so I kind of got that spoiled for me. That like one of the dragons dies and like gets turned evil.
Yes.
And everyone was like, "Oh, that's Tech. That's Tech." I'm like, no, she's tweeting a picture of a giant beast's eye opening, and it's pretty much shot for shot what we see with the which, by the way, holy shit. I didn't get the I'm okay. Here's my moment. Here's my negative.
Go ahead.
Wrecker not riding the Zillow Beast. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I agree with that. What's really nice about this though, in a way, is that I've always been a big fan of connectivity. You know, that's one of my favorite things about Star Wars. So as a fan of connectivity, I think that's where I partially struggle in terms of like, I like to see the connective tissue. And there's a couple of things I'm kind of like, well, what does that mean? How did that? But I go back to that and understand that this was never supposed to be a big connective piece. I mean, the Bad Batch was this first place that was like, well, maybe what, honestly, I take that back. I think it kind of felt like it was going to at the end of season 1, but I feel like in a way they kind of changed streams a little bit. It made it more just personal about the batch at some point.
I think it's a small part of a bigger story. And the thing that I love the most, and I guess we're already into our first segment here, kind of. But this is the thought I'll leave on, and we'll actually get to our segments.
Yeah.
I love that it was the clones that disrupted Palpatine's cloning project.
Yeah.
That is such a kick in the nuts.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. You know what? We're doing it. We're just talking too much. This is what we want to stop. We're gonna go. Let's go to our segments, and we'll get through everything. Let's get our first segment out of the way. As
Who
always.
wants to see Talk to me.
Hondo watched. Did Hondo appear in this episode of the Bad Batch? Did he finally make his return?
This effort is no longer profitable.
No, and I didn't think he would this time. It wouldn't actually have made sense to have him go.
Can I make a comparison to Hondo real quick?
Sure.
I heard this the other day. I can't remember what someone was talking about, but someone said, I'm trying to remember what it was. They weren't talking about Hondo, but the comparison I can make is absolutely fucking perfect. Hondo is like a Where's Waldo book without the Waldo.
That's fair. That's fair. That's what it is at this point.
Like you have the scene set up and you're looking for him because you're like, he's got to be somewhere, right?
Right.
Like the book is Where's Waldo.
It would have been great connective tissue, but the Bad Batch. That's what we say. It's the Bad Batch.
Who else could have pulled the kids out of him out? Like, even if he just shows up on the landing platform, like, hey, I got your message.
Yeah.
I don't know how I know you guys, but I got your message. I'm here to pick up the kids.
That's fine. That's fine. It's okay. I didn't bother. The episode was great enough that I didn't care at that point. We'll see him in Skeleton Crew. That's no, not gonna see him Tales of the Empire. I'm already not ready about that. So
we don't know
Skeleton
that.
Crew.
Don't you put that evil on us, Ricky Bobby?
I'm saying Skeleton Crew is our next best bet, and I'm holding hope for that. Holding out hope for that. All right, let's get to it. Let's get to our next bet up. We're gonna go right into the mission.
What do you need, Rex? Any chance I could use you for a mission?
Without trying to break down any of our other little segments, the overall basis of the show, we talked about it before. It's contained. It's a contained episode. It was 51 minutes or 53 minutes, whatever it was. Just a little under an hour. So I thank Cthulhu for that, because quite frankly, that was a. I needed that. I did need excitement. I remember I was.
It's a double episode.
Yeah, it was basically a double episode. I think that's all I didn't need it to be that anymore. I just thought trying to wrap up everything in 20 minutes was going to be difficult, even without answering a lot of questions. Like, I just felt like they needed that. I didn't want them to feel rushed. I wanted to get a nice send off.
Although I am kind of pissed.
Okay.
I saw I think it was like the Spanish Disney Plus account.
Right.
Tweet last night. It was an hour-long special.
Yeah.
Like, where's the other 22 minutes?
Oh, it was like 10 minutes. It was like only 10 minutes off, like 51 minutes.
12 minutes.
It might have said nearing an hour, almost an hour.
No, it said an hour. It said an hour-long special.
Okay, that's fair.
Like, I used to translate this tweet.
If it was on network TV, it would have been an hour because it had commercials in it. But that's fair. That's fair. But either way, I'm glad it wasn't just trying to get everything done in 22 minutes, because it just felt like it was way too much to do. And they used every minute pretty well to the best of their abilities with it. We start off right away where we left off. Obviously, we have the crew, three: Hunter, Wrecker, and Crosshair. Not a good situation. They're kind of on their own outside the mountain, trying to figure out their way in. We got Echo and not Scalder, Echo and Emery together, trying to find a way to Omega. Omega doing her own thing, getting out of there quickly enough as it is. She outsmarts Scalder. Good to go there. Happy to see that.
That was so cool. Using the droid.
That was fun. It was great. It was a great moment. I love that. What I love best, though, about this beginning part where we were, was the Wrecker conversation. The conversation between Hunter, Wrecker, and Crosshair. Crosshair really has come a long way this season. The season was the Crosshair season in some ways, and ready to sacrifice himself, ready to go, ready to do his own Plan 99 and get them out of there.
Can I just point something out about that?
Absolutely.
I won't say the line just because I don't know if it's your quote of the week, the big line in that segment. Is it?
No, it's not. It almost was.
Okay, that's good, because I'll save it for mine then.
Okay.
It's the whole redemption story of Star Wars, right? I love that this one he went for atonement as opposed to redemption. It wasn't as if he was like looking for redemption. It was he accepted the responsibility for what he had done in the past, and he was saying, I deserve this. That's not redemption, that's atonement.
Yeah. Yes.
And it was a full him coming to terms with, I have done some horrible things.
Right.
She got me out. I'm gonna go in and get her because you guys are too injured right now. Go get Rex. Let me take care of this. I don't want to go in there, but for her, I will. And you see his hands start shaking again. Yep. And yeah, I teared up watching this episode 5 times. That was one of them.
Yeah, I did too. I just got a little misty in there for me. Wrecker being so hurt was tough to swallow. So, last time I wanted to see a big old Wrecking finale, and we did get a little bit of that. But it was tough having him so hurt. Yeah, and that's coming up too. I know,
especially because you contrast that moment with then a few seconds later, Omega saying, "My brother Wrecker is the strongest soldier. He's afraid of heights, but he's the strongest soldier I know." And then it cuts to him being hurt, and he's just like, I'm gonna power through. Because Crosshair's like, "Are you sure? You should have tried to fight a Naxxus by yourself." And he was like, at the time, yeah.
Right. The Omega line was one of my favorites as well. Didn't make my favorite line. I have a lot of favorite lines. I had a lot of favorite lines this week, but me and my son actually had the same thing. We're like this. It shows how far Omega's come from naive little girl to confident leader who is just. She's the teacher now in a way. She's like, she's just helping the kids out. Wrecker's the strongest soldier right now. Just follow me. We're gonna get out of there. We're gonna get out of this kid, basically. Great moment for sure. But yeah, Wrecker being hurt, Hunter being like not, they're all kind of like just do their thing. It's like hard to imagine them doing much there considering how hurt they are and how they're all the odds they're facing. Meanwhile, we have Echo and Emery having another more of those great conversations, and still a little more like concerned about like, why are you helping me? What's going on here? Emery explaining herself with kind of a little mini fist bump moments, like, yeah, okay, she made the right choice. She did the right thing. Like I predicted she was going to back when I first met her.
You did?
I was like, this is gonna happen. And I'm glad it did. And it was well earned too, as well deserved. It wasn't like kind of this turn like where it's like, oh, all of a sudden she's a good guy. No, it was well built up to this point, and this point where
that's the thing. If they'd have just gone like, oh, at the end Echo runs into her and she's just like, oh no, I was a good guy all along, then I would have been like, come on. But they built it up well, they wrote it in well, and they made you like really care. They made you care for her safety as well.
Right. Absolutely. And the thing is, because you saw it coming, but at the same time, you knew she needed like a catalyst. And the catalyst is all of a sudden the Bad Batch or her Omega's crew is attacking. She sees a member of the crew, and she's like, "This is my moment. This is where if I can help, this is the time for me to help." And it worked. It worked well.
And the way that Omega like planned the escape as well, it's almost like she knew that Emery was going to turn, and the way that she did it kind of got Emery in the clear.
Yeah.
Because when Hemlock came in and Skolder was there, and he was like, "This is Dr. Skolder's mistake. She will be dealt with."
Right.
When it's just like this is actually kind of Emery's fault.
Mm-hmm. Emery's in charge. Emery says, "Oh, usually shit goes down that way." But so we get Omega and the kids running away, and of course, what happens is as we all knew was going to happen, we all kind of found out the big beastie. They free the Zillow. The Zillow beast runs wild on you. And it's everything I wanted, except for, again, I want to see Wrecker or Omega riding it, but we didn't.
There were some really gnarly deaths. And then,
there were.
Like, not just the big ones. Like, hearing the new Wilhelm scream was cool. But, like, the Zillow beast full on just eating that one stormtrooper
right down to the bone. Yep.
And then when you could hear the crunch of the bone.
Absolutely could. I love it so much.
Actually, I'm gonna do this side tangent after I finish this point. And then you have the one where like it steps out of the base for the first time and it just smashes the stormtroopers on the ground.
Yep.
But we're gonna talk about sound.
Okay, let's talk about sound.
Holy shit.
Yes. David Collins and everyone else involved. Like,
no. I'm talking about the Kinders.
Oh, music-wise then too. Okay. Yeah. I'm talking about the sound design also.
The sound design was fantastic.
Both are really excellent. I noticed after a time, I want to, before you go to the Kinders, because we have a lot to talk about the Kinders, I want to shout out David Collins and Kurt O'Neill. So there's a couple of times like there was it was the doors open, doors closed. They were all reminiscent of original trilogy kind of sounds that really reminded me.
Let's keep going. Then we'll give the Kinders their shine. Let's keep going with the story.
Okay. There's a couple of doors, like the door closings and everything. It made me feel like it was a little bit like the Death Star in a way. So it made me feel like a little bit darker.
Like
yes, like the slamming of the doors kind of thing. A lot of definitely being drawn from original trilogy type sounds, which I love those callbacks. And sometimes I feel like they're necessary. And sometimes, a lot of times, the shows have kind of started to get away from them a little bit because they did them so much for a long time. I understand that. But every once in a while, it's nice to kind of come home and go, oh, that feels familiarly evil, familiarly dark. And I'm a little worried about it. It has some Empire Strikes Back moments, some Cloud City type doors as well. The sound design itself, it just was piercing. There was every sound had a reason for being there, and it was drawing up tension, or it was taking away the sound to draw tension. Everything's about just amping up that tension, amping up that emotional. When something big did happen, it was just even more meaningful. So shout out to those guys for sure.
There was one when you have the CX trooper holding his vibro blade to Crosshair's hand, it's almost like I could feel the heat.
Yes. Yeah.
Like I could feel the heat from the blade as he was about to cut Crosshair's hand off. Which,
100%.
by the way, to me, greatest character arc that I think I've ever seen in Star Wars is Crosshair.
I don't know if I'd say greatest, but I can see why you would say that.
We'll get to it because it comes to the end of it comes to the end of when we're at the one of the last moments of the show. So I'll loop back around on it. But one of the coolest moments I thought was I genuinely thought that I was going to be right about Rampart because Hemlock comes in there, opens the cell. He's giving it Mr. Big I Am, saying, what I'm doing makes me indispensable, which is more I can say for you. And I was just like, I fucking knew it. For weeks, I've been saying he's going to let the cat out of the bag and he's going to drop the ball. And Rampart is going to pick it up. He didn't pick up the ball. He let the ball explode right at his feet.
Right at his feet. I thought he was going to do it too. I thought that as soon as he started taking care of business there, I thought he was going to take it from Nalase. And I thought that he was going to be the reason why it continued. And I thought Rampart, I actually thought for a moment that Rampart was going to live. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Because I like him to have lived just because I like it. I mentioned it before. It would be interesting to see like a B-level villain that kind of continues throughout instead of having always we always have like the big villains, the Tarkins, the Vaders, the Emperors. So we just have like the show has, the next villain, that's one that's going to die by the end of it for sure because that's the way they have to do it. It would be nice to see kind of like a B-level villain that continues through in a way, but that's
such a satisfying death.
It was. I'll give you that.
Because like he's in there with Lamassae. Is it Lamassu or Lamassae? Namaste.
Namaste. Not namaste. Namaste.
Not namaste. Namaste. And he's in there with her, and like he picks up the data pad and he's downloading the information, and he's doing exactly what I thought. I've been saying for weeks that I thought he was going to do. Would be like, I'm going to download this information. I'm going to use it to blackmail the Emperor. And I was like, bold strategy, Con. Let's see how this works out for you. And then like he even says the line because Nalase was like, you'll never understand the complexities of cloning. You know, this will never belong to you. This will always be Kaminoan. And he even says, he's like, your science and your cloning doesn't matter to me. I'm just using this as a bargaining chip.
Right. Yep.
And then he was like, your time has come. And then he shoots Nalase in the where do you shoot? It's like through the chest.
Right, yeah.
And then like just drops the thermal detonator down. And you can see she's holding it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I was like, oh, that is so fucking badass.
I will also say pour one out for Nalase. What a nice ending for her and arc for her. I mean, she was definitely a villainess in the Clone Wars arc, whatever.
Still talking too damn slow.
That's part of her gig. She's never gonna stop. Luckily, she was fast enough with the thermal detonator. But yeah,
I've seen people being like, Rampart's probably gonna live, and I was just like, the thermal detonator exploded at his feet.
Oh no, yeah, there's no way he lived there. There's no way the whole thing exploded.
He's dead. Like,
I mean, everyone can come back in Star Wars, but let's be honest. Let's be honest. But I think the intention definitively was that he's dead. Let's be honest. Not saying because everybody can always come back to the story demands it. Let's be honest with you. That's how
they can go back and do like a younger Rampart, but like as far as like his journey goes,
you think so?
Dead.
Hey, that's what I thought about Darth Maul. Come on, the guy got cut in half.
There's being cut in half.
That's what I thought about.
And then there's being absolutely disintegrated in a lab explosion.
He was at the eye of the explosion, so maybe he was able to. I mean, he survived all badly busted and burned up.
The explosion.
Yeah. Hey.
The ball was right at his feet.
Hey, I don't know. What do you say? I'm just saying. So many people have survived so many ways in this universe that I'm not shocked in any way, shape, or form. Do I think the intention is that he's dead? Absolutely. If somebody else, if Filoni or Kirk goes, I want a story that brings him back. Guess what? He survived. Let's be honest.
Somehow I returned.
Exactly. But I do think the intention is he's dead. I don't think we're going to see him again. I said before, I wanted him to live for different purposes, but I am totally fine with him dying as well.
It would have been cool if he like inherited the crown. if he'd have got the data and like somehow managed to blackmail Tarkin. Or
I still think he would have blackmailed. I still think it would have been like kind of like, I'm going to present this to you. You should give me
as my way back in,
right. And Tarkin, yeah, okay, you give me this, rewarded. You're back. You're now in charge, kind of thing. I think that would happen too. But either way, okay. Getting back to some of the other stuff we have in the mission briefing there before we get too long on our brief, as you were. Great action beats there throughout, which we're going to talk about. Sure, in our speaking of action, some great moments there. The arrival of the CX2 and sniper clones, wonderful moment. Like, oh fuck moment. I gotta say, I don't know about you, but I all of a sudden started buying into the tech thing a little bit, or at least being somebody we knew. They brought in, they did like the Vader helmet coming down thing. So the way they shot him, kind of like, I feel like they're shooting that to hide the identity now. I feel like they're shooting it to show something. I'm like, maybe. I didn't say maybe, but I'll tell you what, I'm so glad it didn't happen. I am so glad that Tech stayed dead. So glad.
I am very glad that Tech stayed dead or that Cody stayed AWOL, because I had a couple of seconds where I was like, oh shit, are we about to find out? Until the little motifs of the Dark Trooper theme came in.
Yeah. We should go back to Kiner. We never got back to Kiner. Let's do it. Kiner, the Kiners. Wow. Whole episode. Just killer throughout, knowing when to use the motifs, how to use the motifs, and all the different angles. So from the beginning episode where we have the intro, which is different, all the way to the end with the triumphant Omega theme, everything in between.
I would be happy for John Williams to retire now. Like,
if the Kiners
your services are no longer required, sir. You have done your job. Do the Rey theme for the new movie, and then
here. I will not go so that far. As far as I'm concerned, it's John Williams' job until he decides to go.
Hey, if he wants to stay, let him stay.
Wants to stay forever. He lives forever. Wants to clone himself, and he stays forever. But when John Williams does decide to go,
we are in good hands.
I think that the Kiners are the heir apparent, and they better be the heir apparent at this point. Lucasfilm isn't doing it differently.
And it was we continuously got the Bad Batch theme throughout, and it's been the same thing throughout. But this one, they would do like a bar and a half, and then they would cut it off, and then they would change the tail end of the bar, and then there would be like another little motif, like Omega's theme or Emery's theme or Crosshair's theme. But it would be like at the end of the bar, it would be like the tail end of the bar would be the theme. So you'd have the Bad Batch theme for like a bar or a bar and a half, and then at the end would be Omega's theme or Crosshair's theme.
Right.
And I was just like, holy shit.
Just use it back and forth. It was so good. So good.
It's like when Omega's about to climb up the shaft, you just hear the but then it changes to her theme, and I was just like, bro.
You didn't have to go so hard, but you did. And I love you for it.
They really did.
Love them for it, yeah. All three of them. Cheers.
The music was just as important part of this show than the story, I feel
that's a Star Wars trope, and that's the way it should be, and it has continued here for sure. And that definitely continues in anything Kiner does. Anything the Kiners do, I hope that they stick around. They do all the Star Wars shows, as many as they can. And that's not to even degrade any of the other Star Wars shows. I mean, we've had some great scores, but like this is like they just know it. They just know Star Wars, and they know the secret sauce. So heir apparent for sure, as far as I'm concerned. Beautiful stuff. Hats off. I mean, hats off to the entire crew. The whole crew kicked ass. They knew exactly what they're doing.
This is just like the dream team.
Yeah, really is.
Now, Brad Rao, Jennifer Corbett, the Kiners, everyone. Bradley Baker.
Absolutely.
Michelle Ang, like
it couldn't have gotten better. It really couldn't have gotten any better.
No skips. This might be my favorite Star Wars show. Period. Over
I know it's my wife's. For sure. It's definitely up there for me. I can't. I love Clone Wars. I love Rebels. I'll be honest with you. My favorite Star Wars show is usually the one I'm watching at the moment.
I think so. I think that's for the recency bias. Yeah, I think that's what I'm suffering.
The reason why I have to say that is because my wife. I think I mentioned this in PLD Projects chat. I don't know if I mentioned this on air or not. But my wife decided to come to me and said, let's do a Star Wars rewatch. Just watch everything chronologically. I went, okay.
You gonna tell me twice?
Okay. So we've gotten through. I mean, it's gonna be a slow one because she doesn't watch a lot here and there. Although she loves the Bad Batch, she's watched that every week. We're back onto the Clone Wars now, and I keep like it's the very beginning of the Clone Wars, so it's still like the kind of slow part, but I'm still seeing so much that I'm like, oh, I love where this is gonna go.
There's a very special certain someone in my life who is not a fan of the sequels. I'm trying to get her to rewatch The Last Jedi so she can see it through my eyes.
Right.
We'll see.
We'll see. All right, keep us updated.
It might have to be an episode where we have them on to.
Yeah.
And you and me like be like, no, this is
why
it's great.
All right. All right. So back to the show, back to the finale. We got some great moments there. So the boys make it in, and then they are shut down by the sniper clones that are going at it. And honestly, they're overwhelmed at this point. They're already injured. They're already outnumbered, and they're against the elite squad now, which is almost as elite as they are. So it makes sense that they fall. They fall. They fall hard.
You see the one clone that kind of looked like Wrecker? He's like,
I did.
Well, no, he didn't like look like him, but he was like big. It was almost like they used the Bad Batch as the template.
That's what I was. I that went through my mind. I wonder if we're gonna it was gonna be like the Bizarro Bad Batch or something. I was like, still glad it didn't happen because I'd rather be alluded to like that in a way, like visually, than actually confirming. Because confirming it almost makes it cheesy.
Yeah, I like Crosshair because it's like Crosshair's battling himself.
Yes. Yep.
That part's cool. But if they just did like the Dark Bad Batch, I would have been like, come on.
Yeah, it's a little much.
It's cool, but like now's not the time.
A little much. So they go down, and of course we have the wonderfully terrifying or terrible moment where Crosshair loses his hand, and holy shit! I remember me and my son were just like, oh.
I was like, there's no way, like, because the trooper even says you should be more careful with your shooting hand. I was like, oh fuck no.
Right. So bad. Omega then also gets captured and brought to her brothers. That was a bad move by Hemlock. Why bring her to the brothers at this point? Bad idea. Terrible idea. We do get some great moments there. Eventually, Echo and Omega has freed the clones, by the way. I mentioned this before, too, that I didn't... I would like to have seen one clone that we had known. I kind of like looking through. I'm always bad at recognizing the clones, especially when they're out of like armor. I was like, wait, that's my nose. That's
yeah, most of them at this point are with Rex.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless like they found Cut and captured him. I suppose that would have been a cool one because Cut was in the first season.
There before. This is where I thought if Cody was going to appear, that would have been a good place for Cody too, because before would have been subverting that whole he left on his own terms. That'd be kind of cool.
The thing with that is then you would have had people be like, he was in Tannis the whole time and we didn't see him.
Right. Well, that'd been cool. I actually would have liked that.
I would have thought it'd been cool, but we got to think of the general populace here. They would have been like, you had Cody in there this entire time, you didn't use him.
Right. I'm gonna find out where he is still. Still gotta find out where he went. But either way, so the clones got through. Rampart gets free, and we already mentioned Rampart's death. Rampart was treated well. I thought Rampart was written well. So they didn't try to make him redeem himself in any way, which I'm glad. I'm glad he didn't help out
weasel to the end.
It weasel to the end. I would have been okay if he had helped free the Bad Batch for like something else in return. Like if he had done it because it would have helped him out, then that would have been fine. Otherwise, this is exactly the way it should have gone. He leaves on his own terms, tries to get things on his own way, and loses his life because of it. And that's perfect. So we go back up to, like I said, the Bad Batch fight their way free. We have a big war between the troopers there, the CX troopers, the clones that Echo has brought forth, and it's final battle time, and everything goes nuts. I
had a Jim Ross moment during this battle. I had a JR moment when Wrecker speared him through the wall. I was like, by God, he's dead.
He did. That man's cut in half. Broken his back. Oh, God, that was good. Great action sequences there. I'm sure we're going to get through that as well. But we have the normal Echo and clones fighting and helping out. And we get to the big part of the end where Hemlock is trying to leave. He's handcuffed Omega to him. Him and Scorch are running down the catwalk. Great, typical Star Wars catwalk. At this point,
we love a catwalk.
Love a catwalk. And we have the basically the stare down between, because Wrecker's hurt, so Wrecker stay below, of Crosshair and Hunter versus Scorch, who gets tossed off like a bad habit. I feel sorry for the Scorch fans. I know that Scorch fans wanted to have more. Scorch fans want to have a bigger appearance in Scorch. Yeah, that's what it is. I get it.
I played Republic Commando. I love that game. I love Scorch. They turned him into a bitch. Fuck that guy.
That's why I feel bad for the Scorch fans. I think Scorch fans see that they turn him into a bitch. They really love them. So
I feel nothing for them. Like he's a fuck that guy.
But he is basically killed off like a punk. Not gonna lie. But this is the moment we've all been waiting for. This is the triumphant finale. Right here is the moment. Hemlock and Omega are handcuffed to each other. Hunter, there's kind of this Mexican standoff. Nobody can really move. And it's down to Crosshair being able to do what Crosshair does without his shooting hand, without his main shooting hand. And even Crosshair shows I can't do this. I can't do it. I'm not. And like you have the moment from Omega, the moment for Hunter, where they both basically silently like, "You got this. We trust you." And they're gonna. And Hunter's like, "And I trust Omega. She's gonna know what to do." And sure enough, she takes her shivs Hemlock in the leg and gets her arm up.
You get him in the leg? I thought she got him in the nuts.
I thought it was a leg. Maybe it was.
It might have been like the thigh. I don't think they would have had her like stab him in the nuts, but
yeah, I thought the way she was, I think she's down here, so she probably went just got to the side.
Yeah, and then she pulled her arm up.
Pulls her arm, so Crosshair makes that shot, and it's spot on, just like it did.
Which is what brings me to my thesis statement, if you will. If this was an episode of Action Movie Anatomy, this is my thesis statement of Crosshair has the greatest character arc, because I checked myself. I went back to when we talked about Bad Batch Season 1, and I said that Crosshair is in my top 5 favorite characters, and this is why. He's always felt alone. He's always felt that the Bad Batch abandoned him, that they didn't go back for him. Add this, his hand in this season is not only his greatest weapon, but it's also his greatest burden. And now he has been rid of that burden, but he's also been rid of his biggest strength. So to make that shot, he has to lean on his brother.
Right. Yep. 100%.
He has to, the loner of the group, the one that never felt like a full part of the brotherhood of the family, had to lean on his brother to save Omega, the little girl that saved his life, and gave him purpose again, helped him find himself. He had to lean on his brother, which is essentially his way of saying, "Help me, and I'll make the shot." And it showed that, like, get rid of the hand. It was all in here.
Yeah. The
whole time. It was a psychological thing. He got rid of the hand, and he still thought that he couldn't make the shot. But the hand was gone. There was no reason he couldn't have made the shot other than his own mind.
Right. Yeah.
And I just thought that was fucking beautiful. That was masterful storytelling. Having where he came from, of being like the loner of the group, because essentially they all started as like just a pack of loners.
Yeah.
And he was the one that was abandoned and thrown to the side, and he was like, "You guys left me. You didn't come back for me."
Yeah.
But Omega went back for him, and she got him out, and now he's having to lean on Hunter to help him save Omega. I was just like, this is story.
Brilliant and great.
It's poetry, it rhymes.
And this is Kiner's moment too, by the way. Great music there. Oh, the wonderful score that accompanies it. I love Omega's confidence as well. Confidence again, once goes into, it shows her being the not the naive little girl anymore. She is the trained, well-trained leader. Hemlock's trying to play with her, and she's like Hemlock goes, "They won't risk hurting you." And she turns, she goes, "You're not going to either.
You're not going to either. You're going to be alive."
And Hemlock's reaction, the animation of Hemlock's reaction of, "Fuck, I know." You no response to that, because he knows, like, you're right. I can't. God damn it.
Even then, when he was like, "If I go over, you go over." It's like, what are you going to accomplish with that?
Right. Absolutely. I don't know, man. But it's a beautiful moment. The dark, the rain, the lights, the blaster lighting it up. It's just so perfectly done. So perfectly done. What else? Okay, the rest of the briefing, real quick. They got, Emery gets the kids away earlier in the episode. We kind of mentioned, just to drop that out. I love the fact that they get out just as Tarkin comes in. out Bing Tarkin like arrives 2 seconds later with Bragg and everybody, and Tarkin takes over. It's kind of the epilogue of Tantus in a way, as he does. I will say this was like one of those kind of not. This is not a missed opportunity. This is a question mark for me. I'll save it more towards the lore. I want to save this bit of piece, but he does turn everything over to Stardust at this point. Everything goes to Stardust. We know what Stardust is, which is cool. I get that.
It was funny. He mentioned Project Stardust, and I fist bumped at the reference, but then I was like, "Oh wait, no, that's bad.
That's a bad thing. It's a bad thing." I gotta admit, there was a second I did think that when Tarkin talks to Hemlock earlier on, saying he was coming, I did think that Vader might be coming with him. I was like a little worried about that.
I did have a thought, and I was like, "Don't, please."
I didn't want to either. I didn't want to do it either. I didn't want. I'm happy it went the way it went. I'm happy that they get out and Tarkin was there for the aftermath. I think that was just perfectly. It was perfect what we needed for the Bad Batch, not for the story, but for the Bad Batch. So we get back to Pabu. We think all is now nice and friendly. It's a great happy ending. Everybody is going to go on, do their thing. Echo and Rex are going to help the clones out. The rest of the
Pantora.
On Pantora.
We now know where they are.
And that's good. That's good to know. We have to find out what happened to Pantora now. In episode 4, 5, and 6. But then we also get the fact that the Bad Batch stayed on Pabu, and we got a great little loving moment between them. Great family shot at the end. And just when we think it's over, we get that epilogue. And my God, I had tears flowing for the epilogue. I'm not gonna lie. This is where it was very Rebels-like in a way, like years later kind of thing. I get to see. I'm actually like my first gut says, "Oh, we don't get to see Wrecker and Crosshair," but we didn't need to. But it was a Hunter and Omega moment because if anybody was the dad to let go, the dad. I mean, Wrecker and Crosshair were really brothers. Hunter was a brother, but he was like a dad too. So seeing old man Hunter, seeing old Omega, not old Omega, but like adult Omega. With the headband. With the bandana, I mean, the red bandana.
I told you she was going to wear it.
I was so stoked about that. I like fist pump moment. I was like, I'm about to cry. I
was worried that it was going to be like her pulling it from Hunter's dead body on Tantus, but this is so much better. Like she is now going off on the journey with Hunter's bandana on, with the patch on her arm,
with Gonki, with
Gonki, obviously leaving Batcher behind with the dad, with Hunter and Crosshair and Wrecker, and dude, I'm just getting emotional thinking about it again because
if you ever need us, we're there. We know, we all know.
And then you look at bro, what she had on the fucking dashboard.
Goggles. Still after all this time.
It reminded me of Han with the dice.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
Fuck, dude.
And she actually looked a little like Tech.
She did.
I feel like she did look like Tech a little bit.
Oh my God. She became a pilot, dude.
I know.
The thing that like Tech taught her how to do.
I know. A pilot for the rebellion. And it made sense because the Batch's story is over. Her story wasn't. She needed to do more in her life.
If she'd have pulled out of that and did the Tech turn, I would have just been on the floor. I would be like, I'm done. I hate this show. I'm getting misty-eyed and teary-eyed now, dude. She became a pilot.
Yeah. I know.
In the rebellion, and Hunter's there just like, look, I want to keep you safe, but like, and she's like, look, this is my fight now, and this just speaks to like, this show isn't just this show doesn't just tell like the core themes of Star Wars. This is a great storytelling period, because it's about, you go back to the like before people could write in books and stuff, the way people would tell their stories of like local legends, and like they would pass on their stories to the younger generation and pass on their experiences, what they've read, what they've heard, what they've seen, and like pass that on to the younger generation for them to I even tweeted it out. It's not just about passing down your genetic code, it's about passing down your moral code to the next generation and allowing them to take it forward into their own stories. And I was just like, that is the that is the epitome of storytelling, not just Star Wars storytelling period, from the dawn of time to when people could tell stories. And dude, Let's go on to the next segment.
Done.
I'm getting hella emotional, dude.
No, I get it. I was powerful. I love it so much. I love it. It was exactly the chef's kiss for sure. All right. Next up, The Bachelor.
I was hoping for the whole squad, but you'll do.
Crazy one. Who's our favorite Bachelor of the week? Who was our favorite? I remember, by the way, Bachelor. Favorite character of the week. I can't say favorite Bachelor of the week because that becomes Bachelor automatically. I'll let you go first. Go ahead, my friends. Who was your favorite character of the week? Doesn't have to be
that man right there on this segment. Crosshair.
We kind of talked about it, but yeah, I get why you say that. And it was mine as well. It definitely was my favorite as well.
The first season, I was like, I felt some sympathy for Crosshair. Second season, I was like, fuck that guy. This season, he might be my favorite. He is my favorite member. He's definitely my favorite clone.
Yeah.
He might legitimately be in my top 5 characters of Star Wars, period.
I think I might still put Rex over him for me, just out of a long-term commitment I have towards him. but no, I got it. It's really, ever since the episode of Crosshair and Cody, that episode of Cody and Crosshair, I really started to turn to Crosshair and realized this is going to be a great character arc, I can tell. And the Outpost solidified it. And then the rest of the season has been beautiful for me to see that. And like at the end, he's not quite there, but he's just so there at the same time. He's so present and so wanting to atone. And again, like you said before, not redeem, atone. And that's a powerful statement to make. If I was going to shout out anybody else, I'm going to shout out anybody else this week, it would have been Omega.
Fuck yeah.
For everything else that she did. So I'll throw it out there as my own, even though Crosshair is mine too. I'll give it to Omega. So we have both. We can celebrate both of them. Omega for doing what she did.
Can we just give it to the entire batch? We just might give it to the whole batch.
We should. The whole crew. All crew deserve it. Let's be honest. Like all of them have their moments. Everybody had their moments. Even if Hunter and Wrecker were little, I want to say, I'll put in the background this season a little bit compared to everything else potentially.
They showed up when it mattered.
They showed up when it mattered, and they had their moments, and they all mean everything. I mean, the batch wouldn't be the same without any of them. That's true, and that includes Tech. Definitely includes Tech. So shout out, pour it out for Tech, pour it out for the whole crew. Beautiful. So, all right, let's move on then. Let's move on to the next category, next segment there. I-Spec.
The ability to speak does not make you intelligent. Now get out of here.
Favorite lines of dialogue from the week. We had a lot of opportunities here. What was your favorite line of the week?
I'm going to give the honorary mention to the line from Crosshair because it was the first line to make me weep. Clone Force 99 died with Tech. We're not that squad anymore.
Ooh.
And then Hunter just corrected him, and he was just like, boy, you could not be more wrong. So powerful. Like, just like hearing his name spoken still holds so much weight. And for Crosshair to be like, this group died with him.
Yeah.
It's just like, no, dude, you're just different.
Yeah.
But my line of the week, my line of the season came from a man Echo because it was a callback line. Rampart is saying, we should be using this time to get out of here. And Echo turns to him, glares at him and says, clones never leave their brothers behind. Enough said.
Yeah, no, absolutely, 100% accurate. There is so many lines of dialogue I could choose. Like I found myself going, "That's what they're that." What summed it up for me was Omega and Hemlock together. Hemlock says, after the explosion comes in, and she's like, "Your data's gone. You're losing at this point." And Hemlock goes, "Well, I still have you." And Omega just turns to her and is like, "You're forgetting one thing. I have for them." Boom! Fist pump. Oh, baby.
Yeah. There was a moment there where I thought, like, that's the moment where one of them's about to get sacrificed.
I did think that too. I thought it was Wrecker. I honestly thought that was me. Wrecker's go out and plays a little.
Hey, I thought it would be Hunter. I thought Hunter was the one that, because Hemlock was talking to him and he was saying, "Last time I saw you, you lost a member of your squad."
Right.
And I was like, "Oh shit, he's about to kill Hunter."
Now, see, I thought the other way around. He's gonna make Hunter lose another one. I thought Wrecker was gonna get like he could feel like he did. He could like basically take Shop and he's gonna go out and blaze of glory, killing all of them in a way. I know, but like,
you know what I thought it was? I thought it was I did like in the Bond movie is like, "Do you expect me to talk? No, Mr. Hunter, I expect you to die."
Yeah. Easy. That's an easy line for me, though. I did love that one so much. So, all right. Next up, I'm going to actually skip ahead on one of them. I'm going to go to Seen a Lot of Action.
Hear a lot of carbon scoring here. Looks like you boys have seen a lot of action.
I want to skip to that because it's exactly the same moment. Was when, for me, it was when Wrecker breaks free and spears him down across the galaxy, takes him out. It's like we get one last real Wrecker moment. I'm going to take you all out, motherfuckers. And you're all going down for touching Omega. I forget. So great moment there. That whole action sequence there with Echo and the clones fighting each other, fighting off the troopers and the CX troopers, the sniper troopers, and everything else. But one last big Wrecker action moment. That's the one for me.
That was pretty sick. Where he just like speared him right through, and he's just like, "God damn!" I'll tell you mine because it was the most satisfying death, the most satisfying kill of the entire show. Hunter and Crosshair taking turns shooting Hemlock.
Yes, not just one shot.
It was just like, and like you could tell it because the two blasters sounded different.
Yep.
So you could tell they were both like taking turns, probably like walking forward, just like, "Motherfucker, go down."
Yep. So good. So good.
I would give one. There was one. I'll give like an honorary mention. There was a sick one. It was like one of the CX troopers is like Crosshair shot the bomb and the wreckage came down. He slid underneath.
Yes.
And Crosshair just dome shot him point blank. I was just like,
nice. Absolutely. So good there too. 100%. So, all right. Next up in our segments there.
Laugh it up, fuzzball.
Laugh it up, fuzzball. Comic moments of the week. There are a few comedic moments. I have to go out there.
Good ones.
My favorite one though was when the Crosshair, Wrecker, and Hunter outside of Tantus. They have the explosion. I go. Third one, it goes, the Echo or Omega? At the same time, Omega. I literally laughed out loud. Really loud. It was at 3 a.m. here, so I was like scared I was gonna wake up my wife. I was like, but I laughed so hard.
Let me add to that moment because it's a similar moment, just told from a different perspective. It's like Echo and Emery hear the Zillow Beast, and Echo goes, "Oh, she let out the Zillow Beast." And Emery goes, "How do you know that?" And Echo goes, "That's exactly what I would have done."
It's the humor that comes from being part of a family and being a part of like a group of people who know each other so well and love each other so well. They just know. It's a special kind of humor, and it makes me mean even more, I think, when it's that way. So beautifully done. All right, going back to I skipped this for reasons. I just want to get ahead to those. Put that in your holocron and snoke it. Explore more lore.
Do you ever hear the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
A couple of things. See, one of the things I would put is I want to explore more stuff. It goes into my first vision, so I'll hold it. But the ending of the show, the one thing that I kind of was like, it made me take me out for a second is that, okay, so the data is destroyed, the research is destroyed, and Tarkin's throwing everything to Stardust now. I was like, but we know that Necromancer still survived somehow. So I'm like, I got to know how we got from that to episode 9. So there's a connection between this and episode, through the Mandalorian and everything else. I do think it's obvious. Like when I sat down and thought about it, I'm like, okay, so maybe
you're playing into my force vision, you mother.
Oh, okay. Well,
keep going. I don't want to ruin your train of thought. Keep going. Just keep going.
Okay. I was going to say that Palpatine in my head. Okay, well, I guess Palpatine must have had to restart it, and maybe then somebody else restarted it. Palpatine knew Palpatine obviously knows what the mission is. Palpatine probably had an idea of at least partially what they were going for, at least. So he must have known enough to be able to hire more scientists and go on and maybe Grogu, he kind of figured out. I'm sure, like Hemlock probably at least had said to Palpatine, "No, well, Omega is the reason why we can use her." So I think they're looking for a new Omega, and that's when they find Grogu as being potentially be a new Omega. And I think that might be what it is. But I'd like to see how that begins to a degree, or where that connectivity comes in.
Yeah,
Meeting Mr. Connectivity. So.
Well, Grogu is one of the new ones of the kids.
Yeah.
And they
I think Grogu is the one that can do it for some reason. I think his blood.
Oh, you think he's the one between the two?
Potentially,
because they would catch him as one of the kids because obviously the timeline's longer on. People with M count are a little bit more dispersed,
right?
As it were.
I think that maybe there's something special about him because that's why they really want him. Maybe they found out that they could actually probably use him to do it.
How pissed do you think Palpatine was that Tarkin moved all the funds to the Death Star?
That's a great question because that is a weird angle. I'm like,
because he can't be like, no, don't do that. Put it back. Because then he'll be like, what is Project Necromancer? Like, you're spending all this money's gone to waste.
Right.
What the hell is this thing? It's kind of more hassle than it's worth, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. So I have to figure out how Palpatine just readjusts and goes the other way, I guess. I don't know.
Palpatine's looking at the checks and balances.
Like, damn it, I can't just say it yet. I still got it 2 years ago.
He's got his Excel spreadsheet in front of him, and he's just like, you spend how much?
Fuck. I got to cut out some more like latrines and no more showers here. They don't eat food on Dathomir. Whatever it is, they got to do that. So, no, it's a good point. So, all right, what was yours? What was your Holocron moment?
It's tough because it ties into the Force vision, so I'm trying to think of a. Okay, I'll give a fun one.
Okay.
Where the hell did the Zillo Beast go? Where did it go? I was kind of I would have loved the moment at the end when like Crosshair and Hunter are shooting Hemlock. I would have loved for the Zillo Beast's head to just like pop up.
Yeah.
Hemlock and then just come back down.
I was actually expecting that a little bit. I actually either expecting that or when they shoot him and he went over the side, the Zillo Beast would just kind of come up and catch him.
Waiting. Yeah.
Kind of thing. I thought that'd be it too. But it's a good question. He just went off and he's living free now.
But also that's not like a harmless elephant walking around.
That's true. And we have other bases there too. So
think of all the lurker hounds that are now like, oh
shit. All right, let's move on to parsecs.
It's a ship that made the Kessel run in less than 12 parsecs.
Less than 12 equals 11, because we always turn things up to 11 here on PLD Projects. Matty, dare I ask?
11.
11.
Perfect.
11. That's fair.
Perfect.
Fair.
This was, and I tweeted this out, this was a brilliant ending to this story. This was the perfect ending to this story, and it subverted all expectations because we have been conditioned and accustomed to thinking of death and despair and everyone's going to die, and but no, they went, no, these characters deserve to have a happy ending. And I think that's beautiful.
I agree. So sometimes it's okay to have a happy ending. Absolutely. I gave it.
It feels pretty good actually to have a happy ending.
I give it a 10.5, near perfect for me. A little bit, like I said, a few misgivings for me that I have accepted and go, I understand why they did it. And I said it didn't not work for me. There are nitpicks for my own benefit, but at the same time, I agree. It was a very happy ending, and I'm glad we got the happy ending. And I wouldn't have changed a whole lot. So love it. If Hondo was in, it would have been 11. But anyway. All right, let's on to our final segment before we get out of here. Force vision.
Premonitions.
Go first, man. I'll let you, since we're already kind of touching base on it, I'll let you go first.
Everyone always says that Filoni doesn't read the EU, that Filoni has disregarded the EU, that he's disregarded Legends. Tarkin saying shutter the facility indefinitely means that a certain someone could come along and find this facility abandoned like he does in Legends, that certain someone being Thrawn. This is the perfect setup.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? I didn't even think about that.
Because he finds it abandoned.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, I got it. Chef's kiss on that, my friend. That's a brilliant idea.
It only hit me. It hit me like 10 minutes before the show when I was thinking about what I want, and I was just like, "Wait, that could play into some shit here. We might get Luke."
Yeah, we could actually get. I mean, like we said, it's been kind of like we know that Dave Filoni's got the Mandoverse movie, which is going to end or be at least tie up the Mandoverse, so to speak, or whatever. In a couple of years after the original Mando Grogu movie and Snokes Season 2, all that kind of stuff. What people have said is like it's going to be a Canary to the Empire movie.
What if Filoni's movie's animated?
No, they've already said it's live action.
Have they?
I'm pretty sure they did. I mean, maybe we all assume. I don't believe
that would be the big three.
I don't believe they would announce it like I don't believe they would announce it like that. I don't think you could have an End of the Mandoverse be animated when everything else had been live action. Then it would be a weird choice. I think we would get it, but I don't think the main audience would.
They didn't say it's the End of the Mandoverse movie. They said it's an Imperial Remnant versus the New Republic movie.
No, they have said at one point they were going to have the Mandoverse. That was part of the idea. That was part of the initial.
I'm just saying we might finally get a new animated movie.
I would love to get an animated movie. Don't get me wrong. I think we deserve one after all. No, I think they deserve to get a shot after the Clone Wars was kind of like reviled because of it being basically 3 arcs put together.
After everything we got out of animation, I'm all for it.
I mean, I would be too. I just think I have a hard time seeing it actually happen because of the mainstream audience and stuff. So I get what you're saying, and I love what you're saying, but I don't see it happening.
Who cares about? Who cares? We don't care about them.
Filoni wants to direct a live action movie too.
They can go watch their Marvel movies. It's fine. The Marvel movies meant to be coming out around the same time. The general audience can go watch that.
Well, I think we want to have your first vision. Right. All right. Anyway, my first vision. All right. So this show blew my theory out of the water. I did have my thing was that I had the next animated series is going to be Asajj and Omega together with the Path and all this stuff, and well, it mostly did. I mean, it implies the Bad Batch. It implies that Omega was there with the Bad Batch growing up on Pabu. I guess she could be a part of it. Maybe she make an appearance at least. But I don't think it's going to be an Asajj and Omega show anymore. That's what I think. She could make an appearance, absolutely. What I do want to know, and this is where I'm going to start speculating very irresponsibly, and I'm sorry, Ken Knapsack from Force Center. I'm sorry for not holding true to your tenets. But I can't help but watching the fact that Lucasfilm has hired more animators. And I think the only reason you have to hire more animators is if you're doing more animation, right? I'm hoping for 2 animated shows at the same time. Hoping for it. And here's why. I want an Asajj show still. We know the Asajj show is coming in some way, shape, or form. I think that's pretty clear. I mean, yes, it hasn't been officially announced, so obviously it can go away. But with everything that has been said about Asajj's story being told in later stories, and Asajj's voice actress being a part of it, that kind of thing, unless it's a video game or something like that, it's got to be an animated series or an animated movie, whatever. I mean, maybe that's what it is. Maybe Asajj getting an animated movie, like you said. I would love to get an animated movie, but I think we'd also could use the epilogue of Rex and Echo in a series together, like a Rex and Echo finishing out the clone story, so to speak, their story, because the clone story ended here in the Bad Batch. For the most part, because at the end of the day, it's like the clones have. Hunter had the speech. Hunter's like, what are the clones going to do? They're going to make their own path. They're going to live their life. It was very much and they lived happily ever after a moment. They kind of got spewed off to the different side of things. However, I still think that leaves room, and we kind of almost need room for the capital C clones that we know, Rex and Echo specifically, getting Rex to the point where he's, with Chaluba's Gregor and Wolf or whatever. We got to see that kind of stuff. We got to see what happens to Echo. We got to see where they get. I think we have to see where they go to. So and I kind of thought in my head, well, maybe Rex and Echo will be part of the Asajj story. Maybe somehow like the Rex and Echo will be a path to help clones and Jedi kind of thing potentially, or maybe they'd be involved somehow potentially. I was surprised too. Then I started thinking bigger. I'm like, or we could have an Asajj story with Quinlan Voss and the path, and then have a Rex and Echo story at the same time.
You can't help yourself, can you?
I can't. I did to my son too. I can't help it. I want it. I want it so badly. I love it.
I will say I do have a present for you.
Okay.
I know you're big on your timelines and your nerdiness. I want to shout out Physics Buddy Joe, who is a friend of mine, follower on Instagram as well, and he listens to our show, so I want to shout him out. He put in the Thank the Maker group chat in the Thank the Maker Discord, timeline nerdiness. Omega was born prior to the other 99ers. Most of the main clones like Rex were born around 32 BBY, with age acceleration to have them be adults by the time they are discovered in 22 BBY. I think I can assume that if the age acceleration is linear, that means CTs will age at 2 times a normal human would. Omega appears to be a tween during the Bad Batch, which would mean she was likely born right into 32 to 30 BBY date, as well as no earlier, but would put the other 99ers to be born around 32 to 29 BBY. If they were to be around physically 20 years old when they were in the Clone Wars, all this to say, Bad Batch epilogue, Omega is in her 30s. 99ers would physically be in their 60s. Rebels, Rex, Gregor, and Wolf would be physically around 60 years old. Return of the Jedi Rex would be around 70 years old physically. There's a slight possibility that there is a living clone that sees the rise of the First Order.
I like
Shout out to Joe. He's the man, and like to pick up on that exceptional work.
Yes, excellent work, my friend.
Because then you have the First Order being Omega's battle to fight. That could be what she's going off to fight, man.
Yeah. Yeah. You're not wrong.
Tying the sequel trilogy, people would go mental.
I love it. I love that idea. Maybe that's what we get to next. And it would be great to get. I've always been one highlight to saying I would love to get out of this time period a little bit, just to get into some of that post-7 stuff that we can do, because there's so much more that's outside of the Mandoverse that we can really hone in on, and that would be one of that for sure. And the sequel trilogy needs a little more what Resistance could have been, and not to deny Resistance, but Resistance was definitely a younger audience kind of thing. And I think the sequel trilogy could use its own Clone Wars style show, and that would be perfect to be a part of it. I'm here for it. I'm totally here for it. So, yes. All right, that's it. I think we're wrapping it up now, guys. Anything else?
I just have one final thing.
Go ahead.
I thought it was very fitting for Hunter to end the show by turning out the lights.
Yes, I agree.
Like any good sitcom.
Shot. What a beautiful shot! Like any good sitcom. That's true.
That's literally what I was thinking. Like when they go and they turn off the live studio audience lights.
Yep.
Hunter was turning off the lights, and it was the last thing we saw until we see the skyline of Pabu, and I was just like, well done.
Let's turn out the lights here. We're good to go. I appreciate you, Matty, for joining me on this one as always. Matty, where can the folks find you?
You can find me all the way down there on all social media. You find my band Morna, MOURNER. New song Out to Get You is out now. Promoting the shit out of it, so please go listen to it. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Join us on Patreon. PLD.
Right. Patreon.com/PLD Projects if you want to. If you can't, I get it, but you can join Austin Goodell, Jeff Alterman, Brandon Buckingham, all great crew on there as well. But yeah, we can't just hit that share, hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that, and let us know, let people know we're here. Talk to us in the comments what you liked about the episode, what you liked about the show, what you didn't like. Did we hit the mark? Did we miss the mark? Did we leave out something important? I don't know. Maybe we did. You can find me at _Denuzio on Twitter. I'm all over PLD Projects. We got a couple of great shows this week. Tomorrow, we'll see the release of Review, where Lego is reacting to the unproduced script from season 1, episode 20 from 1985. That's a lot of fun. I'm recording with PJ tomorrow. I'm recording an interview. We were supposed to record on Monday, but unfortunately PJ's internet went out. With Vicente DeSante, the director of the Womp Stomp, Never Hike Alone, and Never Hike Alone 2, the fan versions of the continuation of the Friday the 13th saga. But so I almost say fan film is like I kind of feel it has a derogatory comment, but it really doesn't. These guys could really be easily making studio pieces. It's beautiful work, I got to tell you. So I can't wait to talk to him about his love of horror and Jason Voorhees and everything else cinema that way. And of course, Queen. Crown Jewels every week. This week we got going on. What do I have going on? I think Let Me Entertain You is next. Actually, what I just released, Let Me Entertain You. This week is Dead on Time. Dead on Time, a great hard rock and track written by Brian May. Phenomenal piece of work. And Doctor Who's coming soon. So that means
did you see Uncle Brian at the
I did. Yes,
the
Uncle
Doctor
Brian.
Who premiere.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Doctor Who premiere with his wife, Mrs. Flood, character in the new season of Doctor Who. That's coming on soon.
The
Can't wait for
motherfucker
that.
doesn't age.
No, it really doesn't.
Does not
Yeah.
age.
I love it for it. So, all right, guys, we'll see you here next week after May 4th. The next week we will tackle the Tales of the Empire, because that's all releasing on Saturday. All 6 episodes drop. We'll be tackling that entire saga on Wednesday. A little long for that, but we can make do. And whatever else comes out in the 4th, who knows? And maybe I'll talk a little Phantom Menace. Maybe I'll talk of the Accolade footage that I see on Sunday. Obviously, Matty won't be around for that part.
Cool.
I
got a book.
Sounds good. All right, we will see you next week. Until next time, my friends. May the Force be with you. Always.